This is happiness, to be everything at once. Be unblinded, be unlearned, be unbridled and unburned.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Mood Prep. My name is Dave Nixon, and I do believe today we've got a bit more of the warrior ethos to plow through. Before I do that, I realised that yesterday, when speaking about the Marine Corps, I said Marine Corps because as I was reading, I was focusing on the words. So for those of you that picked up on that, well done. And those of you that were offended, I'm sorry, deeply sorry. But either way, moving on. Today we are talking more about the warrior ethos, and I'm moving on to page number. Where are we on? Page number 59 on the warrior ethos. Right, Stephen Pressfield. If you're just tuning in, a few of his books I've read and loved. I really enjoy pulling apart some of his things that he says and pulling my own meaning to it, my own thoughts to it. And so this is a little story about a Roman general. So that I think has a lot of meaning behind it. So let's get to it, shall we? A Roman general was leading his legions toward the enemy in a swampy country. He knew that the next day's battle would be fought on a certain plain because it was the only dry, flat place for miles. He pushed his army all night, marching them through a frightening and formidable swamp, so that they reached the battle site before the foe and could claim the high ground. In the aftermath of victory, the general called his troops together and asked them, "Brothers, when did we win the battle?" One captain replied, "Sir, when the infantry attacked." Another said, "Sir, we won when the cavalry broke through." "No," said the general. "We won the battle the night before, when our men marched through that swamp and took the high ground." So this is a pretty short story, and pretty simple. Effectively, a Roman general just got his team to push through during the night to get a better position and win a battle, right? It's very simple. However, there's a couple of points here. There's two main points that I sort of want to look at, which I think is very useful. Although I don't believe every single day should be like a war, a battle, so to speak, and not everything should be about winning and losing, like that's a whole other conversation. But there's something beautiful about this idea of the warrior ethos and the warrior within ourselves and having that warrior energy and the rest of it and pulling that apart and looking at ways where we know we're defeating ourselves and so on and so forth. But there's a couple of points within this that I really like, and is the frightening and formidable swamp. Right, there's a couple of things with this. The fact is that he led his legion toward the enemy, right, through a frightening and formidable swamp overnight. So let's look at that, right? Frightening and formidable swamp. I mean, a swamp in itself is not something that many people want to just walk through anyway, let alone the fact that it's already frightening. So it's frightening alone just being a fucking swamp, let alone making it nighttime, right? And you can really pull this apart. You can really start to get poetic with this shit and be like, realize that the night is just representative of the dark, because when it's dark, when something goes bump in the night, it's like I was speaking in a podcast just the other day. The whole fear thing, it's like it's what we imagine it to be that makes it worse than what it actually is. So the whole idea of what go bump in the night, right, or what goes like against your leg in a swamp in a night, creates more, or it elicits more of fear of what it might be than what it actually is. And so the fact is that the metaphor of the swamp through the night is just trudging through the dark parts of the shit that you haven't owned yet, in order to be able to get to a high ground when the battle comes to be. Think about that for a moment. The metaphor of this is being able to trudge through the shit that you haven't owned yet, the difficult parts, the stuff that's all behind you in your shadow, the dark parts of it all that you've pushed away and avoided. And if you avoid it again, you'll get the low ground and you will lose the battle yet again. You have to go through and trudge through the darkest shit that it makes up you, because you can't just reject it. The swamp is still there. You have to move through it. And it's not going to be when it's dry and when it's sunny and beautiful conditions. You've got to do it at one of the most inconvenient of times. And if you don't choose to do it, it'll just show up anyway, and you either lose a battle or you'll walk through the swamp, forced to walk through the swamp. Your metaphor, whatever it is. So that's beautiful. I think that's really, really, interesting, intriguing, and meaningful and purposeful, because it allows us to realize that before we need to, in order to take the higher ground, before we need to fight, before we need to have that battle, whatever that battle is, work through your personal swamp so that you can have this ground of understanding. And think of the higher ground, and that's what this is leading on to now, a higher level of consciousness, of awareness. When, I've said this in a podcast just the other day, when there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do you no harm. What that means is trudge through your swamp, get through your bullshit, so that people can't actually attack you, because they're not attacking you, they're attacking their idea of you, right? And when you've worked on yourself enough, you're able to understand this, you're able to have the higher ground, and not like from a higher moral standpoint of being better than them. It's just understanding that more often than not, people project their shit. So you don't have to accept it. You don't have to own it. The idea is that people often be like, you're a dick. And they're, here, I've got you a shirt that says you're a dick. Now I'm like, oh man, I've got to wear this shirt. It says I'm a dick. Now I'm a dick. But someone else is like, yeah man, you're my favorite person. You're like, oh my God, thank you so much. And I get to wear this shirt that says I'm your favorite person. And the next person's like, God, I fucking hate you. It's just like, how often do you have to keep on changing your shirt and just be pulled left and right by everyone else's fucking opinion of us, right? I've been there. Like, it's not like it's unique, it's common, and more people do it more than others, sure. But the reality is that when we can get through our own shit, we don't need approval outside, right? It's nice, it's the sprinkles, but you got to bake your cake. Let people put sprinkles on your cake. Do not put the baking of your cake in the hands of others. Bake your fucking cake, learn how to do that, and let people put sprinkles on there, or let them fuck off, whatever, whatever you want to do. But in that circumstance, in order to get to the high ground, in whatever battles that we have in our life, we have to get through the swamp. And we have to do it, we have to choose to do it at times that aren't really convenient. Because there's never convenient times to do it. And if it is convenient times to do that, then it's also convenient times to do other shit. So we never do the darker shit when it's convenient. Interesting. So sometimes we don't realize that the battle that we have coming up is actually the swamp itself, right? We often think that the enemy is outside. We often think people are attacking us. We often think that people have it in for us. But like some people out there, sure, they're manic and they're crazy and all sorts of stuff, sure. But people don't think about us as much as we think they may think about us, right? And I say that because it's a realization I've had to have. I'm like, oh, this person, that person. I'm like, man, all these people have their own fucking life. Maybe they just don't care about me as much as I care about them caring about me. What would that look like? What would it look like if I moved through my swamp and stopped giving power to the idea that these other people give a shit about what I do with my life? Maybe that's the swamp. Maybe that's the thing that I need to work through, right? And it brings back to the old staple of what is it? Knights of the Round Table, King Arthur, when they're like in search of the Holy Grail, and they were asked, "Where do we search?" And they said, "Go to the forest and enter the forest at the part that seems most darkest to you." Because what that means is that every single one of us, even though we're searching for the Holy Grail, our darkest part is different, but we got to go through it, and we have to go through the swamp. You can't, unless you want to keep losing. And whatever that losing means, it's different for each person. But you get it. I know everyone listening to this has built up a sort of an idea of what that means for them. Something to execute. And that's where the dragon is, right? That's the whole idea. Your treasure, your holy grail, it's on the other side of the dragon. The thing is, the dragon's a figure of your mind. You got to stop letting it eat you. All right, team, I'm out. Thank you very much for listening. If you haven't already, check out Mood Prep online. It should be in the description of this. Otherwise, you go to davenixon.com.au/memberships. Mood Prep Online will be there so we can continue the conversation. If you're a personal trainer, a coach, or an athlete, check out the Coaches Circle. I'd love to have a chat with you about it if you're interested. Otherwise, team, as always, if you found this beneficial, it would mean the world to me. It really would. If you would share it with someone else that you think would also find it beneficial. Otherwise, until tomorrow, peace and pizza. Kick today in the dick. Slay the dragon. I'll see you soon.